Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more detailed videos. Nina Reeves' romantic life on General Hospital has been nothing short of a whirlwind, and right now fans are buzzing about whether the writers are quietly setting up her next big love interest. It feels like every time Nina thinks she's finally found stability, the rug gets pulled out from under her. We've seen her pour her heart into relationships that looked promising on the surface, but ultimately crumbled under betrayal, secrets, and circumstances beyond her control. And now, with her marriage to Sonny unraveling in dramatic fashion, the door is wide open for a brand new man to enter her life. The question is, who could this man be? And has the show already started laying the groundwork for this surprising new pairing? Let's think about where Nina is right now. She's dealing with devastation from her split with Sonny. The man she thought was her forever partner has made it clear that his loyalty is stretched thin between her and Carly, not to mention the never-ending complications of his mob world. Nina has always wanted stability and a sense of belonging, but with Sonny she got chaos, danger, and heartbreak. And that heartbreak is still raw. When a character is pushed this far down emotionally, soaps usually do one of two things. They either leave her in pain for a while to build sympathy, or they give her a totally unexpected romantic connection to spark new storylines. Judging from recent episodes, it really looks like the writers might be leaning toward option 2. So who's on the table? Well, first there's Drew Cain. Fans have already noticed some subtle but telling interactions between Drew and Nina. Both characters have found themselves betrayed. Both have struggled with trust, and both are currently a little unmoored. Drew has been burned by Carly's choices and feels stuck in a complicated place emotionally. Nina, meanwhile, is searching for someone who truly sees her for who she is, flaws and all. Their conversations have been brief but loaded with undertones that suggest more than just casual friendship. Imagine Drew as the man who helps Nina pick up the pieces. It would be shocking at first, especially because Drew has so many ties to Nina's rivals, but in the soap world that's exactly the kind of setup that creates drama. If Drew and Nina connected, Carly would absolutely explode. The ripple effects would be enormous. Carly fighting for Drew, Nina digging her heels in, and Sonny caught in the middle wondering if he made a mistake letting Nina slip away. The audience reaction would be intense, but that's exactly what the show thrives on. Another candidate is Valentine Cassadine. Now, Valentine and Nina have an incredibly complicated history. They've loved each other passionately, they've hurt each other deeply, and they've circled back more than once. What makes Valentine such a strong contender is that he still holds a soft spot for Nina, even when they're not officially together. Their chemistry is undeniable, and whenever they share the screen, there's a spark that's hard to ignore. Right now, Valentine is facing his own troubles, but he's a man who thrives on drama, and Nina's vulnerability could pull him right back in. A Valentine and Nina reunion, or even a tentative flirtation, would be shocking because of all the water under the bridge. Fans might groan at the thought of recycling that romance, but soaps love to prove that love can rise again in unexpected ways. And if Valentine swoops in while Nina is at her lowest, it could reignite a flame that never really burned out. But let's not overlook the possibility of a truly surprising new pairing. Someone like Martin Gray, for instance, could make for an unexpected twist. Martin has always been painted as a slick, slightly shady lawyer, but he's also got a charm that makes him intriguing. Imagine Nina gravitating towards someone outside of her usual romantic type. After all, she's been drawn to dangerous, larger-than-life men like Sonny and Valentine, and that hasn't ended well. What if the writers want to give her someone a little different? Someone witty, clever, maybe even a little less intense. Martin could provide levity and a whole new dynamic, one that fans might not see coming. And given that Martin has his own issues and isn't afraid to mix it up, he could bring out a different side of Nina that we haven't seen in a while. There's also Austin Gatlin Holt, though his future on the show is uncertain. Still, his scenes with Nina have carried a kind of quiet sympathy. Austin has always been an odd character, caught between the world of medicine and the world of courtemane drama, and Nina could be someone who understands his sense of displacement. If the writers wanted to take Nina in a more offbeat romantic direction, Austin could serve as that possibility. The two of them bonding over feeling like outsiders could make for some compelling scenes. And even if it's not a long-term pairing, It could shake things up enough to create new storylines. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. The soap often uses romance as a way to pit characters against each other, to force unlikely alliances, and to stir up decades-long rivalries. Nina's next romance won't just be about Nina. It'll be about who else is affected. If she connects with Drew, it drags Carly into the picture in a massive way. If she circles back to Valentine, it stirs up questions about loyalty, betrayal, and Charlotte's role in their lives. If she surprises everyone with someone like Martin, it sets off a completely new web of conflicts. And through it all, Sonny will be watching from the sidelines, perhaps feeling a twinge of jealousy he'll never admit to. That triangle, or even quadrangle potential, is what makes this storyline so delicious to speculate about. One thing is clear, Nina isn't going to stay single for long. Soap operas thrive on passion and romance, and characters like Nina are never left adrift without a love interest for too long. The writers are already planting seeds, sprinkling in subtle conversations, meaningful glances, and shared vulnerabilities that could blossom into something much bigger. Fans need to pay attention to who Nina shares her most heartfelt moments with in the coming weeks, because those are the interactions that often foreshadow the next big romance. Another angle to consider is whether the writers might shock us with a brand new character altogether. It wouldn't be the first time General Hospital introduced a fresh face just to shake up an existing character's love life. Nina could find herself drawn to someone completely unexpected, someone without any ties to Carly, Sonny, or Valentine, which would give her a chance to build a romance free of old baggage. Imagine the writers bringing in a suave businessman, a mysterious newcomer, or even a doctor at General Hospital who sees Nina with fresh eyes. That would not only give Nina a clean slate, but also allow the show to expand into new story territory. As much as fans love fresh blood, soaps usually prefer to stir the pot with existing characters. That's why Drew or Valentine feel like the likeliest candidates. The shock value, the ripple effects, and the sheer drama of those pairings are too good for the writers to resist. And let's be honest, viewers would tune in just to see Carly's reaction if Drew and Nina ever crossed that line. Carly and Nina have been bitter enemies for years, and nothing would escalate their feud more than Nina taking up with one of Carly's closest allies. That's the kind of storyline that practically writes itself, and it's hard not to imagine the show going in that direction. Let's also remember that Nina is at a crossroads. She's been painted as both a villain and a victim, often in the same breath. The next man in her life could tip the scales in either direction. Pairing her with someone noble and kind like Drew might redeem her in the eyes of the audience, showing that she's capable of growth and healing. Pairing her with someone darker like Valentine could lean into her scheming side and remind viewers that Nina isn't always the innocent party. The choice of her next partner is about more than romance. It's about defining who Nina is going forward. And that's why fans are watching so closely, dissecting every scene for clues about what's coming. The beauty of soaps is that they thrive on surprise. The writers love to drop hints, lead viewers in one direction, and then pull a twist at the last second. So while Drew and Valentine may be the obvious options, we can't completely rule out a left-field choice. Maybe someone like Gregory Chase, who's been dealing with his own struggles, could find unexpected comfort in Nina's company. Maybe the show will pair her with a man we haven't even considered yet, someone whose arrival is still on the horizon. The possibilities are endless, and that's what keeps fans glued to the screen. What we know for sure is that Nina's story isn't over. If anything, it's just beginning a new chapter. Her heartbreak with Sonny has created a void, and in the soap world, voids don't stay empty for long. Whether it's Drew, Valentine, Martin, Austin, or someone entirely new, Nina's next romance is going to shock the audience and set off a chain reaction that reverberates across Port Charles. And when that happens, it's not just about Nina, it's about Sonny, Carly, and everyone else in their orbit. Because on General Hospital, love never happens in a vacuum. It's always messy, it's always dramatic, and it always changes everything. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for all of your updates.